Your Majesty, these ideas will weaken the old order. Then we will build a stronger one.
In this imagined timeline, the Ottoman Empire reaches a dangerous crossroads. It can preserve the old order, or it can rebuild itself. For centuries, the empire has connected Europe, Asia, and Africa. Its ports carry goods across the Mediterranean. Its roads link great cities. Its courts govern many languages, religions, and peoples. But the world around it is changing. New weapons are appearing. New machines are transforming production. New scientific institutions are giving rival states greater power. Old military victories can no longer guarantee the future. The empire must choose: resist change or master it. This time it chooses transformation. The court protects scientists instead of fearing them. Printing spreads earlier. Military reform becomes educational reform. Universities expand. Engineers, physicians, astronomers, architects and translators are brought into the center of government. The empire does not abandon its traditions. It begins studying how those traditions can survive inside a changing world. New printing houses appear across Istanbul, Cairo, Damascus, Baghdad, and Sarajevo. Religious works are printed beside medical texts. Classical philosophy appears beside engineering manuals. Government records become easier to distribute. Scientific knowledge moves faster between cities. Translation offices gather books from Europe, Persia, India, and the wider Islamic world. Scholars compare ideas instead of protecting them behind closed doors. A discovery made in Cairo may be studied in Istanbul within months. A medical technique developed in Damascus may reach hospitals across Anatolia. A mechanical design from Europe may be improved by engineers in Baghdad. Knowledge becomes part of imperial infrastructure. Military academies are transformed into schools of mathematics, navigation and engineering. Officers learn more than battlefield tactics. They study geography, logistics, languages, public administration, bridge construction, disease prevention. The government begins to understand that modern strength cannot come from weapons alone. It must come from institutions capable of producing knowledge, generation after generation. Istanbul becomes more than an imperial capital. It becomes the meeting point of continents, languages, machines, and ideas. Observatories rise above the Bosporus. Scientists map the stars and improve navigation. Medical schools examine disease through evidence rather than tradition alone. Engineers redesign harbors, roads, and water systems. Architects combine Ottoman forms with new materials and structural techniques. The city becomes a place where ancient libraries stand beside experimental laboratories, where calligraphers work beside printers, where scholars debate beneath domes while steam engines move through nearby shipyards. Reform spreads beyond the capital. Railways cross Anatolia. New lines connect the Balkans to Istanbul and the Levant to Egypt. Goods that once required months of dangerous travel move across the empire in weeks. Medical schools link Cairo, Damascus, Baghdad, and Istanbul. Public hospitals begin training physicians according to shared standards. Engineers survey rivers, deserts, and mountain passes. Factories grow beside mosques, markets, and libraries. The empire begins producing its own machines instead of depending entirely on foreign imports. This changes the balance of power. European states can no longer treat the Ottoman world as an empire waiting to collapse. Foreign companies still seek influence. Rival governments still offer loans, weapons, and unequal agreements. But Ottoman officials negotiate with greater confidence because their institutions can understand, copy, and improve the technologies placed before them. The empire becomes harder to manipulate. It is no longer simply purchasing modernity. It is manufacturing its own version of it. But reform brings conflict. Traditional elites fear losing authority. Local rulers resist central oversight. Guilds worry that factories will destroy skilled trades. Religious scholars debate which reforms strengthen society and which threaten its moral foundations. Soldiers accustomed to privilege oppose new standards. Regions that provide taxes and labor demand a greater voice in government. The empire learns that scientific progress does not automatically create political peace. A railway can connect distant cities. It can also carry soldiers toward rebellion. A printing press can spread medical knowledge. It can also spread demands for independence. A university can educate engineers. It can also educate critics of empire. The same institutions that strengthen Ottoman power begin giving its people new ways to challenge it. The court faces another choice: use reform only to preserve imperial control, or allow reform to transform the empire itself. In this rewritten world, the Ottoman state gradually becomes a federation. Power moves away from a single court. Regional assemblies gain authority. Provinces send representatives to an imperial parliament. Arabic, Turkish, Greek, Armenian, Kurdish, Slavic and other languages gain protected roles in education and administration. Local governments control more of their schools, infrastructure and cultural institutions. The Sultan remains a symbol of continuity, but the empire's survival increasingly depends on negotiation rather than command. The transformation is uneven. Some communities gain rights earlier than others. Some reforms remain promises on paper. Some regions still experience repression. The old habits of empire do not disappear because a constitution is written, but the system develops mechanisms through which conflict can continue without always becoming separation or war. By the 20th century, the Ottoman Federation is one of the world's great scientific and industrial powers. Its universities attract researchers from several continents. Its railways connect the Mediterranean with the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. Its hospitals lead major advances in public health. Its ports serve as gateways between Europe, Africa, and Asia. Wars still reach its borders. Nationalist movements still demand greater independence. Rival powers still attempt to divide its territories. But the Federation survives because it offers enough autonomy, education and shared prosperity to make continued membership possible. By 2026, the Ottoman world has not disappeared into history. It has become a vast scientific federation linking southeastern Europe, the Middle East and North Africa. The map is different. The balance of power is different. The story of modernity is different. Istanbul remains its symbolic center. Ancient mosques and palaces stand beside research towers and glass-domed railway stations. Electric ferries cross the Bosporus beneath advanced suspension bridges. Historic libraries connect to vast digital archives. Universities operate across several languages. High-speed trains carry students, workers and diplomats between cities once separated by weeks of travel. Cairo leads in medicine and renewable energy. Baghdad becomes a center of mathematics and computing. Damascus is known for architecture and urban conservation. The Balkan cities become major centers of engineering, finance and culture. The Federation's strength comes from the same geography that once made the empire difficult to govern. It stands between worlds, but survival still carries a question. Can an empire truly reform itself without losing the people it once ruled? Scientific achievement cannot erase historical wounds. Railways cannot silence memories of conquest. Universities cannot automatically repair inequality. Prosperity cannot replace justice. Beneath the Federation's laboratories, stations and shining towers, old tensions remain. Languages, regions, faiths, borders, memories. Some citizens see the Ottoman identity as a shared civilization. Others still hear the word empire and remember domination. Some regions demand greater autonomy. Others fear that decentralization will bring the entire system apart. The Federation must constantly prove that unity is voluntary rather than inherited through force. In this imagined timeline, the Ottoman Empire survives because it learns. It learns to print, to translate, to research, to build, to educate, to reform. But knowledge is not the final test. The final test is whether all the people who helped build this future are allowed to belong to it equally. Because science can preserve an empire, machines can strengthen it, education can transform it, but only justice can make its survival worth celebrating.